It's the Hotch Potch launch party, part 2. Thanks for being here.
I love that metaphor. I was seeing Aaron nodding. Aaron, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Aaron Needham, he, him, and I'm the art editor, and I choose not to write.
But can you talk about your favorite part of the creative process?
Oh, sure. Yeah, getting past the middle. So, for me, like, there's the inspiration, rah, rah, this is great, it's so exciting. Then you get to that part where you're like, what the hell am I doing? I have no right to do any art. I'm terrible. This sucks. And you just feel mired. I feel mired in it. And then at some point, something shifts a little bit, and I get a little traction, a little handhold, a little foothold, and all of a sudden, then like the project is moving again. I can see where I'm going, and that's sort of the exciting moment for me.
Totally know what you mean. Marco?
I'm Marco and I live in Vienna, Austria, and he, him, or whatever. The process, the best moment in the process for me is I run around every day carrying one sack, a burlap sack full of characters. And I think up new characters and they fall into the burlap sack. And I carry another burlap sack in my other hand, and that's situations. And there comes a moment where the right character smashes into the right situation, and there's this like moment like, oh yeah. And then I'm off and running. And that's that firework moment where the next story, the next idea comes into play. And I just love that. That's the best.
It's fantastic. I guess I it's a tie for me. It's the editing, the late stage editing when I'm doing things like substituting one verb for another, where it's so fine-tuned, where my structure is in place. I know what my sort of plot is. I know the characters, and I'm able to go just to such a level of detail that I often feel like I don't have the luxury of getting that detailed. But then the other favorite moment is when, similar to what Aaron was saying, when I'm so lost, and then if something clicks in, and I know I have a really good sense of the overall kind of skeleton of the project. So those are my two favorite moments. So before we get started, I just thought it would be fun to warm us up a little bit with some poll questions. We've never done this before. This is a new thing, and I was trying to like make this a little more interactive. So these are some art and writing trivia. So I'm going to start with this very first question. And I didn't actually make a quiz, so we're going to see how and everyone's free to play. So, and if you don't know, feel free to guess. So, who wrote the children's story, The Ugly Duckling? It's a multiple choice question. Aesop, Hans Christian Andersen, Walt Disney, or Heather Pagano are the
Can I
choices.
vote for myself?
Vote
Yes.
for whoever you like.
I think Heather actually secretly did write that story. Pretty sure.
Has everybody voted? Oh, we do have one vote for Heather, 11%. All right, so now I'm going to end the poll and I'm going to show everyone the results. We have 22% for Aesop, 67% for Hans Christian Andersen, no one voted for Walt Disney, and one person voted for Heather. The actual answer, in fact, is Hans Christian Andersen. So there we go. There's our first poll question. So we'll just pop up and we'll do a couple of those every now and then. Yeah, so let's move along instead of doing a second one, Marco.
Okay. Well, thanks for everyone for playing along. Now it's time, yes, for a few readings from our very talented guest writers.
And I have Marco normally has a gong, but I thought a gong is actually too pleasant for the job. So if you go over your 2 minutes, you're going to have the screechy violin of doom. And trust me, nobody wants to hear this. So just keep your readings under 2 minutes. That will be the signal.
Can you give us a demonstration of that?
Yes. So this is what you're going to hear if you go long.
Minor. Ah, the Jeopardy. Yeah.
Yeah,
That'll do
that,
it.
right? Nobody wants to hear that. Pam, would you be willing to talk a little bit about? I know this is really spur of the moment. Could you be willing? Because when we had met, you were saying maybe you could talk a little bit about how you drew the inspiration from the piece of art. And if you tell me what your image was, I can maybe look for it while you're talking.
Sure. Both Adam Swimmer and I picked art by Shane Allison, and it's very collagey and surreal. And I think that's what drew me to the pictures, to the images. Actually, both of them. I was tempted to pick Adams, but he got there first. So I love the splatters of color. And my picture happens to, I just titled my piece after the artist title, which is 1-800-MEET. And to me, it looked like peering through a chain link fence at maybe a street scene. But what's cool about it is that Shane Allison clips fragments of words or signage or whatever and sort of incorporates that into the art. So I drew on what he actually put. There you go. So that is just so cool.
Sorry.
That's cool too. But that's not the piece. So yeah, so I love the reds. I love the chain link fence. And so my piece incorporates that kind of pieciness of looking through a chain link fence. So I did mine in sections and then trying to make out the street scene, which figures into the piece. But it's very, I was experimenting kind of with form, with a kind of a honeycomb form for the piece, or looking through chain link fence. And what I love about this artist's work is just the surrealism and the juxtaposition of unexpected things. Like if you look, you can see down at the lower left, or kind of the lower left next to the yellow piece, it looks to me like an arm of a sofa that's just like maybe plunked on the street, that's maybe tweed covered. And then he's got you can also see like almost like magazine images, and then the words 1-800-MEET. There you go. Yeah. It's just so cool. Look at that. Look at the it looks like lounging on that tweed covered sofa arm is a woman that looks like she's maybe from photography from the 50s, maybe like an old Life magazine or something like that, which is just so cool. And then other things I can't make out, but it looks also like next to her in that big black bar slashing, yeah, that one, slashing across the surface of the image, looks like a hand, like an edge of a hand resting on a flesh colored hand resting on the fence. And so you'll find that in the story. I hope people read it, and I hope people read Adam's piece too. But yeah, but the Shane Allison's work is wonderful. Don't screech that violin at me. I could go on all afternoon.
Thank you so much, Pam. And definitely read Pam's story. It's totally, totally, totally amazing. I love that's I think my favorite one of yours so far, Pam. We've
Thank you.
been working together a long time on this.
And a huge thanks to all of our guest artists. It wouldn't happen without you. You can read Hotch Potch, Volume 3, Issue 1. Here's the link. And next up, Lunch Party Part 3.